Imagine this, 3,000 people holding their breath. A sold-out show. Las Vegas. Blinding stage lights, months ahead ticket sales, a crowd waiting for their idol. And suddenly, the star simply walks away from the stage. Not because of a scandal. Not because of illness. He leaves to sing at the wedding of two strangers who have only $300 to their name. This moment will never make headlines, never become a show business legend, but it will forever change the destiny of one family, and 3 generations. On June 12, 1972, Dean Martin did something no entertainer of his stature had ever done before. That night, the Sands Hotel in Las Vegas was packed to capacity. 3,000 people, a full house, all waiting for the man they called the King of Cool. Dean Martin was at the height of his fame. An icon of style, the voice of an era, the embodiment of success. For most performers, this would have been the peak of their career. But in that moment, he made a choice that had nothing to do with fame. Just a few miles away from the glittering hotel, inside a small wedding chapel, stood Thomas and Catherine Reynolds. A young couple with no famous names and no grand plans. Their bank account held just $300, everything they had to begin their life together. It was barely enough for a simple ceremony. No guests, no music, no flowers, no celebration. There was no dream dress, no photographer, no sense of occasion. Just 2 people, their vows, and a quiet hope that life would be kinder than the beginning they were given. They weren't expecting a miracle. And they certainly weren't expecting the chapel door to open and Dean Martin to step inside. It happened quietly, almost casually. No cameras. No security. No applause. He walked in, smiled, and said he'd heard they were having an important day. No one knows exactly why he was there. Perhaps someone from the hotel mentioned the struggling couple. Perhaps he simply found himself in the right place at the right time. Dean Martin never explained it. He sang for them. Not as a performer for an audience. Not as an idol for fans. But as one human being for 2 others who, in that moment, needed to feel that their lives mattered. For Thomas and Catherine, it wasn't just a surprise, it was a turning point. As if the world itself had quietly told them, you matter, you're not alone, and you're going to be okay. What's remarkable is that this story never became public. No newspaper articles. No interviews. No memoirs. The Reynolds family kept it private for nearly 50 years, not out of fear or secrecy, but because it felt sacred. It was a moment meant only for them. A memory that didn't need validation, applause, or proof. Dean Martin never spoke about it either. He didn't list it among his charitable acts. He never mentioned it in interviews. He didn't seek recognition. To him, it wasn't a grand gesture or a heroic act, it was simply the right thing to do. Everything changed in 2022. When the grandson of Thomas and Catherine was sorting through old family belongings and discovered a faded photograph. It showed his grandparents on their wedding day, and standing beside them, a man he didn't recognize at first. On the back of the photo were 5 handwritten words. The day Dean saved us. Those words raised questions that wouldn't let go. Why saved? From what? And why had no one ever spoken about this? Slowly, through conversations and fragments of memory, the story came together. And it became clear this wasn't just a beautiful moment, it was the event that shaped the entire philosophy of the Reynolds family. After that day, Thomas and Catherine made an unspoken promise. If they were ever given the chance, they would pass that kindness forward. Not with money or grand declarations, but with actions. Helping strangers. Supporting young couples who were struggling. Practicing quiet generosity, unseen and unannounced. Their children grew up believing that one sincere act can change a life. Their grandchildren learned that true generosity doesn't need a stage. And so, one spontaneous moment became a 50-year family mission, one that was never spoken loudly. We often remember Dean Martin as an image, a drink in his hand, a smooth smile, a perfect suit, effortless charm. But behind that image was a man who noticed people. A man who understood that sometimes walking away from applause matters more than staying in the spotlight. He didn't save the world. He didn't make grand statements. He simply saw 2 people who needed light, and gave it to them. This is not a story about a celebrity. It's a story about choice. The choice to be kind when no one is watching. The choice to help when there's nothing to gain. The choice to leave the stage so someone else can have a moment of hope. Sometimes the most meaningful acts don't happen under bright lights, but in the quiet of a small chapel. And maybe, right now, someone is waiting for that same small miracle.